You guys know about those character questionnaires you see scattered about on DeviantArt, or like, these things can go on for 500 questions. That is great if you're filling out the trivia page of the wiki of your character. But in practice of using them in a given story, it's practically useless. Same goes for character profiles. They're good for keeping basic information and backstory intact, but actively used in the story is bare minimum. Character designs, tastes, and personalities change over time, sometimes dramatically. So while it's good to have those ideas on paper, be prepared not to get attached to them. Part of growing as an artist is the preparation of change, and keeping hold of an idea when it isn't working can horribly stagnate your work. I would know.
After all, you've been working on this story since 8th grade.
So let's get into more useful ways to create characters, shall we? The biggest trouble I had for the longest time with characters was that they tended to be rather bland. Outside of design, not much distinct them apart from each other. But finally up was the book Game to Character, 7 Secrets a Novelist Can Learn from Actors by Brandon Collins. Like in the composition video, I will only be showing minimal parts of this and highly urge you to read it yourself. In the book, a major facet that's discussed is inner values, the core truths of the character, what drives them and how they see the world. When you figure this out, the character's personality becomes more forthcoming and understandable. In the show Avatar: The Last Airbender, the character Aang's core values is pacifism. Well, one part of it is anyway. Everything from his non-confrontational and happy-go-lucky behavior, his abilities and design is based around this. This is why he relents on being the Avatar and having to prepare for battle, so runs away from it when he has to confront it. The conflicting nature of needing to be responsible for the war he left behind, teaching pacifism and kind-heartedness, and being a child is what makes his journey so interesting. Sometimes even simplicity works wonders for this. In the game Super Mario Galaxy, the then newcomer, Rosalina, has a personal story of her mother dying. Because of this, she ends up taking care of millions of baby stars, and learns to accept death and the cycle of life as an inevitability. Rosalina has a caring, calm, and helpful personality. The core values here is motherhood and the inevitable, and thus sees the universe as a child while realizing nothing is forever. You can have your character go through an arc like Aang, or one be fully realized from the start like Rosalina. It depends on the character you're going for. But before that, we need to ask some very important questions on how they got there. Getting into character describes it as a personalization process. Begin a line of questioning with your character until you arrive at the logical conclusion of that line of questioning. This will reveal the inner value of your character, which in turn gives rise to a specific trait, and further questioning will give rise to mannerisms. Let's say we have a character who recently became a police officer. Let's call her Ruth. Some mannerisms and traits may come to mind, like a confident stride, powerful presence, loud, booming voice, stuff like that. Leaving out that is a flat character, one's reserved for bits that play a specific piece in the story. If you don't want that and instead have her be a main or secondary character, we'll move forward to the specifics. Ruth is a police officer, so ask her a few questions around that. Why did she become a police officer? To follow in her family's footsteps, become powerful, to make the world a better place? From those follows another line of questions. Does she feel pride in continuing her family's legacy, or feel forced to do it? Is she doing this for the wrong reasons, just wants to bully those below her, or constantly feels undervalued? Is she herself a victim of injustice and wants to rectify it, or sees that being this is the best option to do some good? Let's say she does feel undervalued and wants position of power to show she's worthwhile. Why does she feel undervalued? Let's say it's because she has a long history of being neglected by her family members. Okay, so what? What does that mean for her? Her outlook is defined by seeing the world does not care about her and wants to prove it wrong. An inner value is based in spite and fear of being forgotten, which leads to her acting more powerful and confident than she is. When creating a character, the question I inevitably want to hit is, so what? What does this mean? What now? You may think I was looking too deep into the Rosalina thing, but let's take the same approach to her, shall we? We need a character who's a helpful guide and a mother to cute little star children. Okay, so why did she do this? Why did she go with the Lumas? Well, she left because she wanted to have some fun. Why did she want to have some fun off planets? Why did she want to have fun, of all things, off the planet? Because her family just lost a vital member and she didn't want to deal with it because she's a child. Then that would mean she would want to go home, but can't, because the one she remembers as it was is gone forever. So she instead finds comfort in the baby Lumas surrounding her and how they don't have a mother either. Okay, so what? So she decides to become their mother and look after them. And as seen at the end of the game, she realizes the cycle of life and death as she explains it to Mario. One of Rosalina's inner values is knowing that what she loves will leave her, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't value the time with it. These kind of characterizations happen all the time in media, both big and small. In the book Skullduggery Pleasant, the Faceless Ones, we have a character who is cocky and generally disinterested in everything and full of himself. He's a side character, but you can tell his worldview straight from the get-go. He is powerful, naturally talented, and do what he wants, when he wants, with no consequences. Granted, Derek Landy has his annoying habit of telling the audience a character's personality before showing it, and it's from the characters that were consistently told are unreliable narrators, so it falls a bit flat.
3 weeks later.
Also, while I like his writing for the most part for being entertaining, his characters take forever to do something when they don't need to. Like the first 3 books reiterate the same point.
Many months later.
This is one of the few books that can make me laugh, so that's a plus, but on the other hand...
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting, and they had to hire a new one.
So with creating characters, this is an ongoing process that usually comes back to these set of questions. Worldviews and thought processes are vast and can be explored in a number of ways. One of the bigger questions with developing characters is making them three-dimensional, and how that works is actually relatively simple. Don't make them just one thing. A common mistake for amateur writers is to assume emotions make a character. Like describing a character as happy to try and give off the idea of optimistic. Without the need of context, it doesn't work. There can be characters who are bitter and distrustful because of all the hatred in the world, and characters who are happy to cause other people's pain. And while a character feels a certain emotion, it's rarely ever just that one emotion. That doesn't mean inject a bunch of traits whether they make sense or not. It's more in how their actions and emotions are conveyed in complicated manners. This is why love is such a heavily explored idea, because it's so messy and hard to find.
How naively one-sided and simple, Stanislavski said disdainfully, to portray love as merely love, or to portray hatred as merely hatred, jealousy as merely jealousy.
You want to create scenes that will show the various sides of their emotions play out. Let's take the character Joy from Inside Out. Joy is defined by being happy, the sole leader of Riley's emotions. Her only want is to make her happy, and that's it. What this leads to is denial of sadness as a necessary emotion, no matter the importance of it. When given a situation where the character is upset, her first instinct is to try and ignore it and move away as quickly as possible. While her prime emotion is to be happy, her methods of dealing with it have a sense of urgency and possessive attributes. Being happy has a degree of fear in it of losing Riley, which leads to her arc of letting go. People take issue because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in universe, but it works for the story, so we let it slide. This is the difference between reciting lines given to you and actually acting them out. The worst thing you can do is have your audience go, "I don't believe you," or "I don't care." And putting believable emotion into it is how you prevent that from happening. A lot of people have this problem with writing and acting where they seem to have forgotten any personal experience in their lifetime. What I mean by this is the characters being very wooden or just going through the motions. A good example of this is the Netflix series The Hollow. The Hollow is about a group of kids that try to figure out the strange world they appear in with no knowledge of the previous lives. Now with a concept like that, a good few interesting character moments can come from. And it seems like it tries to do that, but usually fails. A scene that highlights this is the 2 main male leads, Adam and Kai, think their friend Mira is dead. Kai cries because there were moments earlier that established he had a bit of a crush on her, and Adam tries to tell him that it wasn't their fault. That sounds like it would be a really investing and interesting scene, but the problem is that it's over and done with so quickly that you don't feel that connection at all. Not to mention there is no tension in that scene because we were shown that she is perfectly fine before that.
You've lost it, dude. Just leave me alone. Wait! Listen! Don't touch me! I'm done listening to you! She's gone, and it's all your fault! Stop!
Dude, I'm sorry. I didn't know I could do that. Kai! Come on, it was an accident! Kai!
I could go on and on about The Hollow because there's so much wasted potential, but we need to stick to the subject at hand. Emotion memory basically means to tap into a memory that you personally experienced to give a more emotional impact of your character. This is how you help write characters and experiences that you haven't directly dealt with. Essentially, you put yourself in their shoes and how you would react. You need to allow yourself to create that personal connection with the character by searching into your past to find a time when you felt the same to make them feel more alive. If you're writing a character that worked really hard to achieve a dream but it keeps crashing down, find a similar event in your life, even if it's on a smaller scale. Like, say your character wanted to be a master chef, but couldn't get into the restaurant of his dreams because someone else had personal connections. Maybe it reminds you of a time you applied and got interviewed for a job somewhere and never heard back. Or someone was able to go to college of your dreams because they had more money. How would you feel during that situation? Angry, hopeless, frustrated, defeated? What would you do then? Motivation is essential in your character throughout any scene. What does this character want, and how will they plan to get it? This seems obvious, but a lot of media will have this problem of not showing what the character's motivation for doing something is. Villains in many pieces have this issue, where you wonder why they're even here. So do heroes in cookie cutter stories as well. He wants to save the day because Main character. The desire of your character can't just be a state of being, like, I want to be happy. For that to work, you have to break down what being happy means to that person. BoJack Horseman explores this in many areas, with BoJack trying to fill the void with fame, fortune, sex, and drugs. It wasn't until he lost everything that he finds some genuine degree of happiness what he actually needs. Meaningful relationships, and accept the truth that it's okay to have good things happen to you. Which is where you get the want versus need of character arcs. Let's go back to the Inside Out example. Joy wants Riley to be happy above anything else. This leads to her being possessive and somewhat selfish and nearsighted. Why wouldn't she want her to be happy all the time if she could control it? What's the purpose of being sad anyway? What Joy needs is to let go of Riley and let her experience sadness. Because without that necessary release of emotions, she will end up feeling nothing. And it's okay, even necessary, to have sad moments in your life. This is a basic element of character arcs and is greatly used to explore your character. Your writing is the most important aspect of any story and it's best not to be overlooked. The plot is the backbone, but the characters are the muscle. And if it's underdeveloped or practically non-existent, well, your story is just bare bones.